Hola cabrones, Bobby Blitz from Overkill. We are on Dosis TV. Adios.
Bueno, estamos reanudando el ciclo de la Dosis TV junto a un invitado muy especial. Overkill nos visita por segunda vez y tengo conmigo al vocalista de la banda, Bobby Blitz. Así que vamos a hablar un poquito de la gira, de la historia de la banda, etc. Bobby, thanks for your time. Nice to see you again.
Our second meeting in Chile.
Our second meeting in Chile.
Fantastic.
Well, first of all, how is the tour going so far?
We've been touring on and off since we saw you in March of 2010. So I wouldn't say straight with breaks, but there's been Ironbound worldwide up until this point, and back to South America again. And again, our second time in Chile, which is very exciting for us that after it took 25 years to get here, we can come back in another 20 months different.
In a very short period of time.
Which is fantastic. I suppose it's a good testimony to how the Ironbound record has been accepted by, let's say, the metal community.
Perfect. Well, I want to talk, to do some remembrance of your last show, 2010. Our country was devastated, because of the earthquake and the tsunami. A lot of people suffered. A lot of people died. A lot of people lost everything they got, houses and things. But I felt that you coming here, and playing the way you play and being the band you are, was a release, for people, because metal gives you that chance, kind of like it's a release from agony, anger, frustration. And I felt it that way, and looking at the crowd in that particular show, I think you accomplished that so good. I mean, it was there was a lot of energy, there was a lot of action, and I think it was pretty intense, and the people really kind of like appreciate also from that point of view.
It was a unique time to be in your country for the first time after such a disaster. And I think one of the things that will always stay with me was that before I walked on stage, I walked up to a guy who was working with the crew all day, and I said, I need to say something, and I don't know how to say it, and you have to help me. And he helped me with an expression, and he translated it, and I said, the earthquake was strong, but Chile is stronger. Yeah. And I think that the release that we had between the audience and the band right then made an instant bond and made that show go over the top. Because I think that when people are in disasters, you don't want to forget, but you do want to move. You want to move forward. And I think it was a great experience for both of us, Overkill heads and Overkill, to get together and say, we can make this a little bit better at this time.
Absolutely.
Chile is más fuerte.
Yes. Well, thanks for that. Okay, I have some questions here. You are metal fans in the first place, so we share the same view. If you were not to be in Overkill, what aspects of it would touch you, move you, and how would you describe Overkill from a fan perception?
It's a very hard question because I have to remove myself from what I've known my entire adult life. But the things that make it special to me is, I think, first and foremost is energy, which is what music is to me. The emotion that releases energy, to me, is the most important, and that's why it's all about heavy metal. I think probably the second characteristic would be honesty. I think that we release that energy because it's an honest release. This is what we like doing. let's say it's not normal in, let's say, former or past times for most bands to be in an energetic band for 25 plus years, 26 years professionally. I know Dee Dee since 1981. 30 years I know this man. And we're doing the same type of an approach. Now, obviously, we try to make it better every time. But if these are the two characteristics or emotions, it's positive energy and, for sure, release, honesty.
What's the feeling behind creating something larger than life? I mean, your music will go on forever.
You know, I suppose it's a little bit selfish to some degree, but we share, it starts with a selfish seed, but then we share it with those who love it very much. I think one of the things about this type of music is that it's perceived to some degree as negative. But I think my wife says it best. She says, big bad Bobby Blitz and his boys, all dressed in black, coming out very hard, but smiling like little boys at the circus.
It's always about the 15-year-old kid that's always with you.
Yeah, it's a great feeling of energy and youth on a continuous level with regard to performance. And one of the things I think I'm the most proud of over all this time is I've never felt like I've taken anyone's money. I felt that every show that we've done over this period of time, over these 3 decades, we've done the best we could under every circumstance. So hey, that's a great testimony to a life well lived.
After all these years, what's the emotion that drives Overkill? And when it comes to music and lyrics, where do you search for inspiration?
You know, it's funny because this whole thing, if I had to wrap it up from the selfish point of view, is that it feels like a drug. Maybe in a drug that's more addictive than physical drugs. So it releases something in me that I can get from nowhere else. So the inspiration comes from within itself, comes from chasing the high, that I can continuously chase that high. If I have enough energy to want it back, I think that that's inspiring enough. With regard to lyrics, I don't look more than outside myself. Now, obviously, things come in through my eyes, through my ears, through conversation, through meeting people, whether that be in Chile in March of 2010 or whether that be in Los Angeles of 1985. These are meetings, these are moments that a person should remember, and these become the inspiring moments because we all have, to some degree, if in this metal community, the same aspirations and the same goals. So that becomes the inspiration for me. I have sat down with Dee Dee and said, I think the hardest thing is to not repeat myself. But for some reason, we haven't run across that after 16 records and now working on the 17th.
You have never done the same record twice? Never?
I don't think so. I mean, you know, there's a difference between style and being repetition or repeating. And I think that obviously myself as a singer, I have a certain way of presenting myself. Dee Dee has a certain way of writing songs, but I don't think we've repeated ourselves. It's come across more so in style than repetition.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about us, you know, about our website. You know, we were talking about that after we started shooting this interview. Our slogan, you know, it's rock and metal straight to your vein. Yeah, La Dosis in English means the dose, you know, and we believe metal is our religion, our true religion. It's in our blood. We believe in heavy metal. It's our identity. It's our community. And I always say I'm so thankful for bands like Overkill, you know, Exodus, Testament, because they are real, you know. I mean, they're real musicians, you know, they play from the heart, and that's something that fans will always appreciate that.
Well, you know, I think we've developed and had the unique opportunity to develop over decades, where a lot of bands under normal circumstances, you know, we've lived the lifelong existence 3 times of most bands. You know, if we've been around for 30 years, my God, I mean, it gives you the opportunity to play and go new places with your music. I think one of the unique things about Overkill with regard to this is that we're fans first. And if we are fans first, we can look at it as lifestyle, as you say, or community. I would never go as far as religion, because I think that to some degree that's spiritual. But lifestyle is a very, very big word. It's a stamp or a brand or a tattoo on your back that says metalhead. And other metalheads know that. And that becomes...
Totally agree with that.
But that becomes a great feeling of being recognized by each other. And I think even in Chile last time was, we had finished the show, and I'd been saying it on that tour was, we'll see you again, and take care of each other, because you're all you have.
Absolutely. You know, the only thing that life's guarantee you is death. Yes. You know, so you gotta hold on to life and try to live it, you know, very intensely.
But it's unique that this community has taken care of each other for the amount of time that it's existed, and it's existed now and transcended different generations, you know, to the point now where we're talking about 3 generations of metalheads that are out there listening to bands like Overkill, or listening to even newer metal bands or the new thrash bands, etc.
Okay, we talked about you seeing Overkill as an outsider. Now, how would you describe Overkill fans? Are there any difference between Latin American fans, US fans, Japanese, European, etc.? Or are they pretty much the same book?
Well, you know that the last time we talked in March 2010, it was really my first interview down in South America, face-to-face. I mean, I had done others in Brazil. We had been to Brazil, but we had not been outside Brazil. So this is my first experience outside of Brazil. And my feeling about South American fans, that if you're going to do a DVD, you'd be crazy not to do it anywhere else. Because there seems to be a higher level of energy, and I think part of that is because the moment is special, because it's not common. If it takes 25 years to get here and people wait, that's a long fucking time to wait. And they're going to make sure that that moment is explosive. And that's what we saw on that last tour. And it became so in other countries also. I mean, going to Argentina, you know, going back to Brazil. We've been in Colombia since. So these were fantastic experiences, and this is a unique metalhead down here, because he doesn't have what New York has, or what Berlin has, or what London has, who can see it once, twice a year maybe, you know, for 20 years, 25 years. So it's very, very special experience with South American fans.
It's something you embrace, I mean, forever. You know, you're never going to forget about it.
It's funny, we were coming in last night on the plane, and the promoter said, "You're not playing the same set." I said, "No, I don't think so." And then I had to go over the set list and said, "We have to change some songs." He goes, "It'll mean more to them if you change some songs." I said, "We'll change some songs." So we'll be doing some different ones tonight. And because they are moments in time, you know, and they should be 2 separate moments. Our first time in Chile, and our second time in Chile.
I don't know if you heard or you read, but Motorhead, they're going to release a DVD, you know, here in Santiago, now the 13th of November. Fantastic. Yeah, that was a great show, and we're very happy that Lemmy, you know, is going to, you know, I mean, that they shoot the show, and it's going to live forever, you know, and we appreciate that. I know you're a big Motorhead fan.
Well, you have to be great to recognize greatness. And Lemmy's great, so obviously he recognized a great crowd.
Yeah, but you're great as well.
Oh, those guys are fantastic. You know, I have one of the funniest stories that I have over these years was in 2007, and we had done Motorhead through Germany, supporting them. And Lemmy and I have known each other for many years, since the 80s, and he came up and he said, "I want you to come up and I want you to sing a duet with me in the encore. It's going to be Overkill." And I got so excited that I wrote down on my arm the first word of each verse, so I wouldn't forget or mix them up. So I could look down very quick and say, "Only way, only," you know, so only way to feel the noise. And he came up to me in the guitar lead and he said, "Fucking cheat notes! You cheated!" But one of the better experiences of my life being a Motorhead fan and also a metalhead and a rock and roll guy.
We all love Lemmy. Yeah, Lemmy's great. Okay, you were the first heavy metal band to play in a communism regime, you know, Poland, Russia. What memories do you have of that experience?
It was quite unique. It was back before the Berlin Wall came down. It was 1987. We were on tour with Germany's Halloween, and they added to the show Running Wild, another German band. And when you go into a communist country and they say no smoking, they mean no smoking. I do remember there was a guy who used to follow me everywhere I went, and he had dark sunglasses, but he had red hair so I could see him. So I would be in the bathroom taking a piss, and he'd be right there taking a piss. I was getting something to eat, he was getting something to eat. I said, oh, this is my spy or my shadow.
It's like your shadow, yeah.
So when we did the show, one of the things I saw that I've never seen since was a human pyramid. And there was maybe 20 at the bottom, then maybe 12, then maybe 6, then 3, and 4 high of people doing a pit on top of each other's shoulders. And I was a young man at the time, and I got pictures of the girls thrown up on the stage saying, "Take me to America, I will be a good wife." So I suppose communism was not so great for these girls.
Okay, as far as music goes, do you follow any pattern to build songs, especially considering that Overkill has never done the same record twice? You know, from, you know, Feel the Fire, Taking Over, Years of Decay, Under the Influence, Horoscope, all the way to From the Underground and Below, Killbox, Immortals, Ironbound. Do you follow any pattern, or is something just that is kind of like coming from everywhere?
Well, you know, there's obviously a process, and you have to understand about this band. We started pre-internet. I mean, before people had instant information, before your show was even possible to do, we were doing music, and that meant guys had to be in a room with each other. Now we do a balance of what the technology can offer us, meaning that I can work in my home. The guys can be in a room. I can send something via computer saying that's wrong. Why don't we try this? With the vocal, can you change that chord? Dave, can you do this? Yes, I can. Back and forth. So we do a balance, but you still have to be in a room. And I think that our process constantly develops. We're comfortable enough working apart, but you still have to be there working with the other guys in the room to get the feel of what this music's about. One of the unique things about it is that it did start before the internet, and it still continues. So bands that started then know how to play, and know they have to be able to play, and know they have to be able to interact with each other. That the computer is second to the interaction that's a human contact. So I think that that's our way of doing it. Sure, things develop, they're processed, we use the technology, but it never becomes a song until it's one-on-one, one-on-4, all 5 together, like so.
You know, I believe in defend music subjectivity. Do you agree on the Big Four being the Big Four, or is more something created by the music industry, the media? You know, we have bands like Overkill, Testament, Exodus, and now Death Angel. You know, it's coming back again with an excellent record like Relentless Retribution. I had the chance to interview those guys last year. The interview was great. You know, the vibe was great. The show was killer. What do you think about that?
I mean, you know, to speak about them first and foremost, they've had an energy that I always feel is competitive, and I like competition. I've done a few shows with Death Angel over the years, and I've always thought to myself before I go on, I go, that's going to be hard to beat, but I can do it. So I like the band. Yeah. With regard to the Big Four, I mean, obviously it's been constructed by media, but constructed by media based upon their popularity. So there is validity in it, and those bands have done a lot for the scene. And I'm not a person to throw stones at another man's house. I firmly believe in the fact that, Overkill has been a successful band, and I've been satisfied with that success based on the work that we've put into it as people. So I can't look and say, I don't think that this is true, because it is a fact. They have done a lot for this scene. They have each sold a lot of records. They have each acquired a status that is above that of the other bands, whether it be Overkill or Testament or Death Angel or Exodus. They've acquired that. Yeah, do I want to be in that? I don't want to aspire to what I'm not. I don't want to put something in my own head that ruins my satisfaction, because my satisfaction is more important. This is a life. If it was 10 years and it was a shorter career, that would be one thing. But to say, as we did earlier in the interview, to know Dee Dee for 30 years, this is a life. This is not a... I signed on for life, the blood oath. So, yeah.
Well, now we're gonna do kind of like a ping pong thing. I'm gonna mention something, and I want you to answer the first thing that comes to your mind. Okay? Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I always think of the Ramones, because that was I remember when the Ramones got in there, and it made people in New York very happy. And Dee Dee Ramone, I think it was the last year he was alive, wasn't it, when he took the thing. And I've always been a big punk fan. And I've been there before. And I always like to say that Overkill's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, because when I went in, I had a knife in my pocket, so I got through. It was before security was so important. I went into the bathroom, into the toilet, and I carved it into the Overkill into the toilet stall. So I say Overkill's in there too.
Okay. Overkill live in one word.
Energy. Yeah.
Rock star, or the concept of rock star in one word. Yeah. We can understand that perfectly, and I agree totally. Okay, there's been a lot of changes as far as the lineup goes. Dave Lins, who's been in the band now for a while, is a riff master and always bringing amazing solos. The same goes for Derek. I mean, the lineup right now is killer. It's excellent. Anyway, do you keep in touch with Bobby and Rat? Looking in retrospective, in which ways do you think they contribute to Overkill?
Well, the new guys and this lineup that we have, especially with the addition of Ron, I really think has brought everything together. I mean, Dave is the longest standing guitar player in Overkill, now at 13 years. Derek adds, Ron helped those two even add more because of his energy. With regard to the older guys, I've seen Canavino, Gant,
Sebastian?
I've seen Sebastian. Sebastian has a great production company that when we do shows in big cities in America, we rent extra lights and extra PA from him. So we still do business with him.
How about Tim?
Tim I'm not in touch with, but by his own choice, and he's not in touch with the other guys either. Kamo is doing, I think he road manages Asia now. Yeah. Bobby Gustafson's been in touch with me, and Rat, by his choice, is not in touch with us. But they've all contributed to this band, and I mean, especially at the beginning, Rat and Bobby had a lot to do with this band. I mean, you can't deny that. We were 4 kids trying to understand what we're doing, so everyone's energy really counted then.
We understand metal. Well, we were talking about that at the beginning of the interview, like a lifestyle, like religion or whatever. The song "Fuck You," who is much more like an anthem, protect us from the people out there that judge us, condemn us, and stigmatize us. We are in 2011 now. How do we understand this, and why do you what do you think about these people, and how can we understand that this is still going? I mean,
I think that the idea behind "Fuck You," and it should be understood, we did not write this song. This was a song that was done by a punk band we liked out of Vancouver called the Subhumans, and then picked up by another punk band out of Montreal, Canada called DOA. And we just loved it as a cover and recorded it as such. The thing that we've always liked about it was that it was attitude. What it was originally in the States there was politics came into music, whereas they were going to sticker records and censor them. We thought this was our last chance to do something that way. It's become anthemic, but I think it's changed. I think because of the time that's passed, a song like this, instead of screaming our anger at the other side, it's more of a success or a victory, because we can all do this at this particular point. So what became, let's say, a battle cry is now become a celebration song after so many years.
Okay, this is the last question. When the day comes to part ways with music forever, which would be your last words to say to music?
You know, I like bringing my wife in because she has a very unique perspective on my life. She sees me probably clearer than I see myself. I like exciting things. I like fast things. Sometimes I like dangerous things. And I remember this was a few years back, and I said, I'm going out on my motorcycle. And she said, okay. Where are my keys? She said, they're under your coat. Okay. And I said, if I don't come back, she says, I know, right on your gravestone, it was a great ride.
Yeah, very good phrase. Yeah. You know that Friedrich Nietzsche says that without music, life would be a mistake. What do you think the metal scene would be without Overkill?
Oh, I mean that's a question that's a question that might be bigger than Overkill. I know what I would be without Overkill, and I would be a mistake.
Yeah? But we learn from mistakes anyway.
Of course.
We're always learning.
Always.
Okay, well, Bobby, thank you so much for your time. This is very touching, you know, for me to interview you. You know, we talked last time. It was in a different environment. You know, we were actually talking, you know, sitting in the streets, you know, outside the Crown Plaza. And I actually remember that I invited you to my house in the South, you know, and the invitation is still there, you know. Because I remember you told me you like fishing, you know, on the south of Chile. It's really amazing. It's beautiful. You have beautiful lakes and rivers. It's a place that someday you have to go, and my house is going to be your house. Okay?
I may never leave.
Okay, so once again, thank you very much for being again here in Santiago. I hope you have a great show. I think it's going to be like that. You know, you're a great band. Thank you for every single song that you have created and has touched our heart and gave us identity. And in some cases, why not? A reason to live.
Sometimes, yes. You need that.
Thank you, Bobby.
Gracias, amigos.
Thank you. Thank you so much.